Today, we'll look into the life of John Bunyan, the author of The Pilgrim's Progress, the most widely read book in history after the Bible, to discover what it truly means to live by faith. In 1672, in the Bedford region northwest of London, John Bunyan was finally released from 12 long years in prison. To most people, imprisonment would seem like a tragedy. But to Bunyan, it became one of God's greatest gifts, a place of suffering that bore eternal fruit. It was during those dark years that he wrote The Pilgrim's Progress, a masterpiece that has shaped the faith and imagination of believers across the world. Let's go back to 1660. It was a time when religious freedom was crushed in England. Bunyan was arrested for preaching the gospel without a government license. When he stood trial, the judge offered him an easy way out. If you promise to stop preaching, you'll be set free immediately. But Bunyan stood firm and replied boldly, "I will never be silent about the gospel. Until my last breath, I will preach." That single decision cost him 12 years of his life behind bars. He once confessed how painful it was to be separated from his family, especially his blind daughter, Mary. "When my poor blind child came to visit me, it was as though I was pulling the flesh from my bones." It was a deep human sorrow, yet even there he saw the hand of God. He said, "I was not delivered into the hands of men, but into the will of God." This was not resignation, it was faith. Bunyan believed that even his prison cell was governed by God's sovereign purpose. Despite the pain, Bunyan did not sink into despair. The silence of the prison became the soil of deeper communion with God. And out of that silence came over 60 books and writings, many of them born from prayer, tears, and scripture. Among them, The Pilgrim's Progress became a theological masterpiece, turning the Christian journey into a vivid spiritual allegory. The walls of the prison could not silence his voice. In fact, they gave him the stillness to hear God more clearly. From that quiet cell, he wrote words that would cross centuries and continents, awakening hearts and strengthening faith. Through the character Christian, he gave the world a portrait of the believer's pilgrimage, from the city of destruction to the celestial city. His writing became his pulpit. His chains became the ink through which grace flowed. Yes, prison took away Bunyan's freedom, but it also set his soul free. His preaching was silenced, yet his praise never stopped. That cell became God's classroom, where he learned what it means to trust the unseen God. Bunyan once wrote, "I was made to look upon all worldly things as if they were already dead to me, and myself as dead to them. And so I learned to live by faith in him who is invisible." That is the essence of living by faith, to turn our eyes from the temporary to the eternal, from the visible to the invisible, from the world to God himself. Through suffering, God refined Bunyan's heart and turned his gaze from this fleeting world to the everlasting glory of heaven. In our next episode, we'll explore how the sufferings of believers are never accidental, but are lovingly ordained by God himself, as seen through the trials of John Bunyan. Thank you for watching, and remember, even in our darkest prisons, God's hidden smile is still upon us.